Have you ever stumbled upon the challenge of writing your PMP application? In this video, I'm going to show how to draft your PMP application in just a few minutes and get it approved by PMI without any hassle. So let's dive right in. We'll walk through everything you need to know. What prerequisites you must have before you begin, how to submit your application on the PMI.org portal, key do's and don'ts when writing your application, and how to use ChatGPT to write your application. And I'm going to give you some sample application for your reference. Before we begin, let's understand why this application is so important. To take the PMP exam, PMI needs to verify that you meet three key eligibility criteria. These details must be provided in your application, which is then submitted through PMI's portal for review. The entire process of writing this application is to confirm that you qualify to sit for the exam. To start, you need to gather all the necessary information to complete the form and prove your eligibility. Also, you will need to create a free account on pmi.org to submit your application. I will show you how to do that shortly. Now, let's talk about the eligibility requirements. There are three main criteria to qualify for the PMP exam. If you are already aware of the eligibility requirements, then you can skip this part. If you want to learn about the eligibility requirements in detail, then I have a dedicated video for this. The video link is in the description. The first is your educational background. You must have a diploma, a bachelor degree, or a master degree. The second is the project management experience. This certification is designed for professionals who have hands on experience managing projects. You need to describe this experience in your application. The amount of experience required depends on your education level. If you have a 4-year bachelor degree, you will need a minimum of 36 months of project management experience. With a master degree, 24 months are sufficient. And with a diploma, you will need at least 60 months. Keep in mind, this is not your total work experience, it's specific to project management. For instance, even if you have worked for 10 years, only time you actively manage projects counts. So if you have spent 3 years managing projects, that's the 36 months PMI is looking for. If you are unsure whether your experience qualifies, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'm happy to help. One more important point, your project management experience must be non overlapping. What does that exactly mean? Non overlapping means that if you manage two projects concurrently for a certain duration, then this overlapping period shall be considered for only one of the projects. For example, if you have managed project 1 and project 2 simultaneously from July 2023 to February 2024, then this accounts for only 8 months of experience, not 16 months. Your required project management experience can come from just one project or multiple projects you have worked on. PMI accepts both completed and ongoing projects as valid experience for your application. However, there's an important condition. All of your project management experience must have earned within the last 8 consecutive years prior to the date you submit your application. Now, the third requirement is completing at least 35 hours of formal project management training. This is mandatory. You cannot skip it. The training must be specifically tailored for PMP exam preparation, should cover the topics outlined in the PMI's PMP exam content outline. When it comes to fulfilling this training requirement, you have two options. First is self-paced learning. You can take an online course on platforms like Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, or Coursera. This is mostly the budget-friendly route. The second option is to attend live online sessions or classroom training. This method gives you real time mentorship, structure, and a fast learning experience. However, it's more expensive. The quality of your learning will depend on the training provider you choose. In the end, it all comes down to your personal preference. If you are confident and already have solid project management experience, a self paced course might be just right for you. I offer a comprehensive PMP certification prep course on Udemy, and I also conduct high quality live online training at a competitive price. You will find all the details in the video description. Feel free to check it out. Once you complete 35 hours of formal project management training, you earn what PMI calls 35 contact hours, also referred to as professional development units or PDUs. It's simple. 1 hour of training equals one contact hour. So when you finish 35 hours, you have got 35 contact hours covered. And remember, if you already have a CAPM certification, this 35 hours of training requirement is waived for you. With the three elements, your educational qualification, project management experience, and 35 hours of formal training, you are now eligible to apply for the PMP exam. All of this information needs to be entered into your PMP exam application submitted through the pmi.org portal. So the next step is actually filling out and submitting the application. To begin, head over to pmi.org and click on the register button. Fill out the registration form and click register now to create your free PMI account. Creating the PMI account is completely free. If you already have one, you can skip this step and go straight to starting your PMP application. Once you are logged in, click on the certifications tab, then select Project Management Professional PMP from the menu. This will take you to a new page that outlines everything about the PMP certification process. Click Apply now to begin your application. You will be taken to the PMP application form, which is divided into three main sections. The first section asks for your education details, both academic and professional. Start with your academic background, which you can fill in using the information from your degree certificate. Next, enter your professional education details, which refers to your PMP training. You will need the course completion certificate from your training provider. As I mentioned earlier, this could be a self paced course on platforms like Udemy or from a live classroom session. Use the details listed on your course completion certificate. Enter the number of contact hours you completed. Most courses offer 35 hours, which meets the minimum required for your application. Once you have entered everything, click Save. Now click Continue to move on to the Experience section. Here you will input your project management experience. As we know that the amount of experience you need depends on your education level. For example, if you have 4 years bachelor's degree, you will need at least 36 months of experience in project management role. Now let's go step by step and fill in each field in the application form. Starting with the project title, make sure you provide the actual name of your project you worked on. Avoid using generic names like building construction project, or software development project. Instead, write something specific that clearly identifies your project, like Trinity Enclave Business Complex for a construction project, Tricolor Image Processing Software for a software development project. Next, you will need to mention the organization where this project was carried out. In most cases, this would be your current or former employer. Then comes your job title. This is a critical field. PMI expect candidate to have hands-on project management experience. So your job title reflects that. Avoid listing titles like system designer, software developer, structural engineer, research analyst, or sales executives. These roles are more technical or individual contributor positions. Instead, use titles that shows involvement in project management such as project manager, assistant project manager, co-project manager, team lead, scrum master, product owner, business analyst, sponsor, functional manager, operation manager, PMO member, or PMO head. If your job title doesn't indicate any role in managing or leading projects directly or indirectly, your application might get rejected. After that, select the functional reporting area and the organizational primary focus from the drop down menus based on your actual experience and the nature of the project. Next, choose the methodology used to manage the project, whether it was agile, waterfall, also called as predictive, or hybrid approach. You will then ask about your project team size and project budget. Don't worry if your team was small or your project wasn't a multi-million dollar venture. PMA doesn't require that you have managed huge projects. They just want to verify that you have genuine project management experience. So, even if your project was relatively modest, it still counts. That said, it's better to provide actual values for team size and budget if you can. Choosing classified is an option, But providing specific details helps the reviewer understand your experience more clearly, which improves your chance of getting approved. Just keep in mind that your project should be real professional projects. Things like house renovations, academic dissertations, or personal hobby projects do not count as valid project management experience. So make sure you only list genuine professional work. Now let's move on to the project dates field. Here you will enter the start and end dates of your project. If your project is already completed, simply input the actual end date. But if the project is still ongoing, just provide the start date and check the box that says in progress. This way, you won't have to enter a end date. Also, you don't need to show all your experience through just one project. You can add multiple projects by clicking Add Additional Experience. The application system will automatically calculate your total project management experience and you can view it under the Experience Summary section. Now comes the most important part, the project description field. This is the heart of your application and it's where many applicants make mistakes. There are a few best practices you must follow to ensure this section is strong and get your application approved quickly. Now, let's look at how to create a strong project description that gets your application approved on the first review. Here are some good practices you must follow. First, structure a description with the following subheadings: objective role, responsibilities, deliverables, and outcome. This format not only make your description clear but also aligns with PMI's expectation. Second, under the objective session, describe the main goal of your project. What was the project trying to achieve? Try to include numbers or measurable results if you can, like timelines, cost targets, and customer impact. In the role section, clearly explain what role you played in the project and what responsibilities you were assigned. This helps PMI understand your level of involvement and authority in the project. Most important section is responsibilities and deliverables. Here list the key activities you carried out and what deliverables you were responsible for. Now this section should be organized into 5 process groups: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closure. One common mistake people make here is writing too much about technical side of the project, like product design, coding methods, industry specific tools or manufacturing processes. That's not what reviewer is looking for. They want to see whether you used project management tools, processes and techniques. So keep the focus on your PM skills. When writing about your project description, focus on what work you performed in managing projects. Don't describe too much about the technical aspects of the product or the service your project delivered. Instead of describing the product features and how you built them, talk about how you managed the project schedule, created the budget, handled risk, developed the project plan, led the team, and ensured the project met its goals. The key here is to help the PMI reviewer understand how you perform as a project manager, not just what project was about. Examples of things you can include here: risk register, WBS creation, cost baseline, project schedules, resource management, stakeholder engagement, earned value analysis, vendor selection process, sprint planning, backlog grooming, change management plan, and so on. This entire project description should be between 200 to 500 words, enough to show your experience, but still concise and focused. Now, here a cool hack to write this effectively using ChatGPT or any generative AI tool. First, you write 4 to 5 lines describing your project. This should focus on the technical side, what the project was about, the tools or technology you have used, what kind of service or product was delivered, etc. Then copy those 4 to 5 lines and paste them here inside the prompt. Leave the rest of the prompt unchanged. This prompt asks ChatGPT to generate the full project description using the structure we just discussed. You can download this prompt from the description. Let ChatGPT do its work, and boom, you will have a polished, structured project description ready. in minutes. Once it is generated, quickly review it, check if the facts, tools, dates, and metrics are accurate. If something needs to be changed, you can just prompt ChatGPT to update that part. But most of the time, it will be good to go. Now, copy and paste the final version into the project description field in your PMP application form and click Save. If you find this video useful, please like it and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much. Once saved, you will see your experience listed under the Experience Summary section. It will show you the total months of project management experience you have submitted based on the start and end dates you entered. As I mentioned before, you don't need all of your experience from one project. You can click Add Experience to enter another project and just repeat the same process. If your first project already covers all the experience hours you need, then you will see a green tick mark next to the experience summary. For example, since you have selected 4-year graduation earlier, PMI requires 36 months of project management experience. Once you meet that requirement, the summary bar will turn green. And just like that, you have done with the most important section of your PMP application. All right, now it's time to save and move on to the final part of your PMP application. Click Continue and go to the Exam Details section. Here you will need to select your exam location. This is important because your location determines the exam fee. For example, the fee is slightly higher if you're taking the exam in the United States compared to India. Now, here is a tip: don't try to cheat the system by entering a false location just to pay less. PMI takes this seriously. Using fake information or a VPN to spoof your location, especially if you're planning to take the exam online, can lead to disciplinary action, and you definitely don't want that. However, here's a valid scenario. Let's say you are currently living in the US, but you're planning a trip to India and you want to take the exam while you are there. In that case, it's totally fine to select India as your exam location as long as you're actually going to be there when you take the test. Some of the information on this page will be auto filled based on the details you provided when you created your PMP account. Just make sure all the fields are complete, fill in any missing details, and check the two confirmation boxes at the bottom and click Submit Application. But wait, before you hit Submit, I highly recommend one extra step. Print your application page, specifically the experience and education sections, as PDFs. Share them with your mentor, trainer, or someone who has recently cleared the PMP exam. They might spot something that needs to be revised or clarified before submission. This step alone can help you avoid unnecessary rejections or follow up queries from PMI. After reviewing and making any final updates, go ahead and submit. PMI typically takes around 5 business days to review your application. You'll get an update by email on whether it's accepted or if they need more information. Now, don't get stressed if your application gets selected for an audit. This happens to about 5% of applicants and is usually random. If it just happens, just upload the requested documents. The audit process takes about 5 additional business days once your documents are received. Once your application is selected for an audit, you will receive an email notification at your registered email address. This email will include details on how to access your audit package. The audit package is a folder structure where you need to upload certain documents to help PMI complete the audit. You can either click the link provided in the notification email to access your audit package, or you can directly log into your pmi.org portal where a new button called Audit Package will appear on the main page. Now, when it comes to audits, the authenticity of the information you submitted in the application is verified. PMI checks three basic things. First, they will ask you to upload your educational qualification, that is, your degree or diploma certificate, to confirm that the information you provided in the education field in the form is valid. Second, they will ask you to upload the course completion certificate for your PMP training. This certificate should include the name of the training institute, the date of completion, and the confirmation of 35 contact hours. Third, you'll need to provide two references, people who can confirm that they have worked with you and that you have managed the projects listed in your PMP application. Ideally, these should be your supervisor or direct managers. However, you can also use colleagues or friends who are familiar with your work. For each references, you will need to provide three pieces of information: their name, email ID, and organization. The email should preferably be a company email address rather than Gmail, but I've seen PMI accept Gmail addresses too. Based on the details you provided, PMI will send an email to both references to confirm that they know you and that you manage the projects you have listed. Your references must reply to that email and endorse your experience. That's how PMI verifies your work experience stated in the application. After uploading these documents, you will receive a confirmation email that your audit documents have been received successfully. If everything is in the order, the audit will be completed within 5 business days. Once it is done, you will receive an update confirming that the audit is complete and the status of your application will change to accepted. And that's everything you need to know about how to face the audit. So, in case your application gets audited, don't panic. Now you know exactly how to deal with it, right? I know even after learning all of this, there's still one more thing you're wishing for, right? Yep, I can hear your mind voice. You want to see some sample PMP applications. Well, you have got them right here. There is one for construction projects, another for software development, and a few more. You can download them using the link in the description and use them as a reference when drafting your own application. But remember, don't just copy and paste the content, write your own version. Use these only for guidance. All right, with that, we have covered everything you need to know about the PMP application process. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much. And hey, if you want to know more about overall PMP certification process and the exam itself, I have two great videos waiting for you. Watch them to make your PMP journey easier. The links for these videos are in the description. I wish you all the very best for your PMP exam success.